Hi, everyone. In this final episode of our special reInvent edition of IoT All the Things, we're streaming to you across AWS On Air.
And we'll be talking with our friend from Relay, Ibraheem Khalifa, and discussing next generation walkie-talkies and Bitcoin mining.
And there's a lot of energy this week, and we have our fellow solutions architect, Piyush Batra. Hello, Piyush. Thank you for doing this. He is standing by to moderate the chat and feed us your questions, so stick around.
There's a lot of info to share ahead on this special projects edition of IoT All the Things.
All the things. All right, hello and welcome. Welcome to our show. I am Erin McGill. I'm a solutions developer here at AWS. I'm on the AWS solutions team, and what we do is we architect and build automated solutions that you, as an AWS customer, can launch in your own account. We create solutions across all sorts of different topics, but also IoT. One of my favorite ones that we do is IoT Device Simulator, which will help you simulate different IoT devices that you want to develop against. But I'm here because I really love IoT. I love being able to take some hardware, take some code, put some ability to it, and make something physical happen in the real world. I find that very exciting and I love it. And I am here with my co-host, Tim Madison. Hello, Tim.
Hey there. Tim Madison, principal partner SA for IoT. So my job here is to work with partners and build cool IoT projects all day, every day on AWS. So it's great. I love doing the same thing, working on IoT projects, writing code, interacting with the real world. It's very, very satisfying.
Yeah, that is awesome. It is reInvent season. Tim, you and I know this pretty well. We've been here for quite a few years, and there's always great buzz around technology, and this week, especially IoT. So we wanted to talk about some few introductory things.
Yeah, this week was the IoT week. There was the IoT keynote.
Everything.
There was the Edge Compute keynote. There was everything got launched this week. So what's the thing that's on the top of your mind that got launched this week, Erin?
Top of the mind that we have been talking about on and on is the IoT Greengrass 2.0. Very excited about this. It is awesome. One of the things that I think is really cool is that we've open sourced it. So if you want to know how the code works, if you find a bug and you want to submit a bug request, or you just want to provide feedback, it's on GitHub. So you can go there and maybe provide a feature that others can use. I think it's really great.
Trim it down for the kind of environment that you want to run in. There's a lot of flexibility now that it's open source. And something that people, I think, missed in some of the announcements was the first 1,000 Greengrass devices in your account are free for all of 2021. So if
that is awesome.
Greengrass isn't that expensive in the first place, but if it was any type of barrier, it's not there anymore.
Yeah. Another thing that they did is that they created more tools for local development, which is really awesome. It eases the development process for you. You can develop it locally. It has a local CLI. And Tim, we were talking about this. I didn't get to see it myself yet, but I will shortly. Is that there's a visual debug application that you can visually debug applications on your devices.
Yeah, if you look in the session catalog for reInvent, there's a session IoT 202. You'll see two people from the Greengrass team demoing this, and it's cool. They have a side-by-side terminal and browser. And the terminal, they're developing code, and they're launching things in Greengrass, and you're seeing it live saying that the code is getting ready to deploy, that it's deployed and running. It's very, very convenient to be able to just have that, upfront view of what's going on there. I think it's very awesome.
Yeah. It's awesome, and you can see the status of the deployments. It's super cool.
Yep.
All right, so what else?
So what I'm interested in bringing up is AWS IoT Core for LoRaWAN. So LoRaWAN is one of these low-power, wide-area network protocols, but the devices that speak LoRaWAN can't connect to AWS IoT directly, or at least they couldn't connect directly until today because they don't have IP addresses. They're not IP devices. They can't do MQTT. They can't do HTTPS. So this LoRaWAN feature will let you take your devices, have them send their payloads to the LoRaWAN network as they normally do, but then set up a route to get those messages into IoT Core.
That sounds like it will make it so much easier to get those messages and those pieces of data into AWS.
Yeah.
Something that really caught my eye was a preview for IoT Sitewise Edge. So some of the things that my team is focusing on is in the industrial space and how customers can get their very interesting data that's being emitted by all of their machines and factories, for example, how they can get that data into AWS and learn from it. But what IoT Sitewise Edge does was it allows you to collect and process and monitor that data from industrial equipment on premises. So it's before you even have to send it to the cloud, you can gain insights on it, which is super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've even got some dashboards built into that too, just like Greengrass does for development purposes. Now, the next thing that I'm really interested in talking about is something that you actually brought to my attention a couple of days back. It's the AWS IoT Edu Kit. And I looked at this kit and I said, this thing is awesome because it reminds me of this M5 stack board that I think is one of the greatest kits that I've ever used. And it turns out it is the M5 stack kit. So it's M5 stack
That's what
kit.
it is.
Yeah, it's an ESP32. It's got a microchip, ECC 608A secure element. It has a screen, it has buttons, it has a battery charging hardware. All of that stuff inside the kit makes it super easy to develop things and also start thinking about production deployments where you want to have credentials secured inside a secure element. Really cool.
Yeah, you don't have to wait until you get your production hardware. You can already start developing with that from day one with this kit. So that's very cool. Really quickly, before we get on to our guest, I wanted to remind everybody, all of our reInvent viewers, to tweet your comments to @AWS on air. Our esteemed moderator, Piyush, will be watching for your tweets in case you have any questions for us or for our guest Relay or for all of us combined. Okay, it's that time. We are happy to bring on the show our special guest from Relay, Ibraheem Khalifa. Hey, Ibraheem. Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Hey, Erin and Tim. It's great to be here.
We're really excited to have you here to talk about Relay and to talk about your product. But before we start doing that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your role at Relay, and a little bit about you and your relationship with IoT.
Awesome. Thanks, Erin. So I'm a director of product at Relay, where I oversee all things API, and that means custom solutions and integrations with the Relay product, working with developers day in and day out and building cool stuff. So in that vein, I also dabble a little bit in some home IoT, home automation. And so brief history there. One of the recent projects I've done is building a little weather station with some e-ink displays and an ESP32, which was fun. And then more recently, that's right. And then I also put together a little Bitcoin miner monitoring setup with Relay, an ASIC miner, and a Raspberry Pi.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's awesome. A lot of
Very
projects.
excited to hear about this ASIC ant miner that you got set up. But before we get to that, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Relay and what you guys do there?
Awesome. Yeah. So Relay is a voice communications company. We have a product called Relay that allows people to communicate using voice and also does a whole bunch of other stuff. So in addition to voice capabilities, push to talk, it also does location tracking. It allows you to it's got a voice assistant that lets you, communicate electronically with other data and get feedback back. And then we are part of a larger company called Republic Wireless that has been doing voice and telecommunications for about a decade and has transacted a ton of voice minutes, over 1 billion voice minutes and messages.
Wow, 1 billion voice minutes. That's amazing. And it is time for us to talk about the project that you've brought here with us to show us the capabilities of the Relay that we are calling Mining Without Meltdowns.
First of all, the Bitcoin mining thing is really cool. We definitely want to hear about that. And the fact that we're talking about avoiding meltdowns is probably pretty important in your house. So why don't you tell us about the project?
Yeah, so Bitcoin's one of those things that I think almost everyone has some regrets around Bitcoin that they sold too early. That's a pretty common story. So, I figured why not get an actual ASIC miner and set it up in my home. When I got it, realized one, it is super loud. I have a S17 plus Antminer ASIC miner that consumes a ton of power, has really loud fans, and is super hot. So pretty quickly realized, hey, I probably can't just plunk this down in one of my bedrooms. Otherwise, my family is going to kill me. So what I what I decided to do was, hey, let's put it into a attic space, insulate it a little bit, use that, put that heat to good use now that it's winter. But at the same time, wanted to be able to monitor it and really understand what's happening with it. So that's where relay and some temperature sensors came in.
Cool. So yeah, it sounds like this project will show a lot of the capabilities of the relay. I know you have a demo for us, but before we dive into the demo, can you show us the setup of your Bitcoin miner? Bitcoin miner?
Yeah, let's pull up a
Please.
picture.
I think you have a picture of it.
Looks like.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
so this is a lovely picture of my attic here with a bunch of shiny objects. But what we have here is the cold air coming in on one side through some vents. It's coming in actually from a room above my garage, which tends to get kind of cool, pulling in that cold air. And then I have a little air box with the actual Bitcoin miner in it. And that also contains a Raspberry Pi with a Sense hat that allows me to monitor the temperature of the air that's coming out of it, and then hot air that gets pumped back into my house in a different room. So it's a kind of way to insulate the sound and then also keep some of that air circulating within the house, at least in the summer months when it is cool, in the winter months when it's cool.
Cool. So you dual purpose.
Yeah.
All right. So now, I heard you brought a video of a demo for us.
I did, yeah.
Here's a quick demo showing the Bitcoin miner setup with relay for monitoring. First, we're going to show a couple of different ways to access the data by logging in using the relay device. First, with a token, login 679589.
You are logged into home using token.
Oh, cool.
We can see that we're able to use a token to log in. Next, I want to show using the GPS location of the relay to log in securely to a location.
Nice.
Log out.
You are now logged out.
Log in.
You are logged into home using location.
Cool.
Awesome.
So
So that was.
Yeah, I was going to say, before we move on, I want to talk about a little bit of those two kinds of logins that you had. So the first one, you used a key that was reflected on a web page of some sort. And the other one, you just said log in, and it was like, sure, no problem. Can you tell us a little bit about those two, and why would I use one over the other?
Yeah, so the idea here is just for demo purposes. I created a couple ways to securely log in so that nobody can access it directly without some sort of security. And I picked two different mechanisms that you can imagine. Once I build out my Bitcoin mining farm and have tons of these in different locations, I'll be able to log in securely to each of them. The first one is using a token. So it's, I have the device that has its unique ID, and I'm reading a token, so I don't have to physically be at a given location. The second mechanism is using the unique ID of the device combined with the location that the device is presenting, the GPS location, and saying, okay, cool, now we're logging into this location, and I can kind of guarantee that because I've got the device GPS coordinates and a preset coordinate on the website.
Cool. Okay. So we can go back to the video. I believe you have more.
Next,
yes, there's a little bit more.
Data points back, starting with, let's see, the current temperature from the relay using audio. Temperature now.
The current temperature is 81.77 degrees Fahrenheit.
Let's take a look at the temperature over the last 12 hours. Temperature history.
History for hours.
Cool, that looks pretty normal. See, we have some cooler periods with green LEDs and some hotter periods with yellow LEDs. Let's see what the maximum temperature was. Temperature maximum.
Maximum temperature of 84.6 degrees Fahrenheit at 3:22 p.m.
All right, and next, the minimum temperature. Temperature minimum.
Minimum temperature of 60.4 degrees Fahrenheit at 7:30 a.m.
All right, that all looks normal. Let's log out and wrap up the demo. Log out.
Very cool. All right.
Pretty cool.
So,
thank you.
yeah, it looks like there's a lot going on there with sensors and the relay and cellular. Tell us about all the components of this project.
Yeah, so you can see kind of the voice being interacted with there, but there's a whole bunch of different components that are at play. We're using the relay services to get location. We're using some voice processing, both in terms of detecting a phrase, which was temperature, as you heard, and then getting some speech to text from what we call spillover text, which is all the free text afterwards. So temperature minimum, temperature maximum. All of that then gets routed over to a web server that I'm running on EC2 using Python. And then from there, I'm able to get historical data that is stored on IoT Core. And then I'm also able to pump data back into, so if there's a high temperature alert, we didn't hear it on video, but if the temperature exceeds 90 degrees, I'll get alerted on the relay device that, hey, you might want to go check out your air temperature is getting quite hot. So that was one of the main functions here that's useful for me, is to get that temperature reading.
Nice. Yeah, and I want to call out, it's so fast. I've been using the API and
so
fiddling
fast.
with it. I say this every time we talk. It's so fast. I just want to throw that out there for everyone.
Thanks, Tim. It's fast. We've designed it with voice, and so we had to make it very performant. As humans, we are tuned to speech, so it needs to be really fast. And so we actually have most of our core services running on Erlang, and you'll hear a little bit more about that later.
Cool.
All right, so now it's time for some theatrics, I think.
Ooh. What is this we have over here? We have a little relay relaxing in a bowl of water. Hey, Aaron. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. So we just had a relay sitting over here in a bowl of water, and just showing that it's pretty durable. It's pretty resistant to drops and that kind of thing. So this is a relay device, as you saw in the video. It's small, pretty portable, and pretty rugged. It's got tons of different hardware in it.
Oh yeah, we have a visual of a schematic of the internals.
Yeah, I think so. Can we pull that up? And let's talk a little bit about it. It's pretty cool.
Right.
We've jam-packed a ton of stuff in there.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So what's in here?
So it actually has, I would say, the guts of a smartphone and a couple of extra fun things without a screen. So you see there the silicone at the top, which is what helps make it rugged and waterproof. We have 3D printed the antenna around the outside to maximize the antenna gain that we get. It's banded for GSM LTE globally. And then we've got Wi-Fi radios, Bluetooth radios. We've got an NFC chip in there. We've got a LoRa chip in there. Tim mentioned that a little earlier. So lots of really cool tech, all jam packed into this really compact form factor.
Nice. Yeah, it's a lot in there. I love the 3D printed antenna that you had mentioned. So let's before we get to this, I want to get to the services you guys have built. But can we just get another shot of that cup of water? Can you just drop the relay in there just to show people we're not messing around? I know we've done this 1,000 times, but it's something just it feels so wrong, but it's just fine. I love it. So
yep, totally
on
fine.
top of this gigantic sandwich of fantastic hardware that you've packed together, what kind of services do you offer with this? Because hardware without great software isn't really all that exciting, but you guys have a lot there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the core things that sets Relay apart from a lot of other development hardware, where you might be able to develop something as a hobbyist with an ESP32, but then productizing that is a whole different challenge, a whole different beast. So what we've tried to do is arm you with the software that enables you to go from prototype to production super quickly and easily. So all of our APIs, all of our services include things like indoor location tracking with Bluetooth beacons that we have that are prepared, don't require any configuration other than just entering the name. GPS location, all the voice, the speech to text, the text to speech. So lots of really cool things that you can access using basic HTTP APIs.
That is very cool. So you listed off so many capabilities: language processing, voice assistant, location, GPS, and Bluetooth. So what are you finding people use the relays for?
Yeah, so there's a bit of a story around this. When we launched the Relay device 2.5 years ago, we first launched it for kids and families to communicate with each other and to be able to locate their children. So it was sort of like a kid's first phone. What we realized pretty quickly was that people liked it, but they were also purchasing it in bulk. They were buying 10 devices, 20 devices at a time. And that was obviously not for family use. So a lot of people looked at it and they said, "Hey, this is cool. This reminds me of like an old school like Nextel or something like that, and I'd love to use it for my employees." So we have people like Six Flags in New Jersey that's using it for their employees. We've got hotels around the country that are using it to communicate back and forth, and pretty quickly they started asking us, "Hey, this is a pretty neat device. It's got a lot of tech packed into it. Can we access it? Can we, speak announcements out over it? Can we, do other things with it?" And so that's kind of where we started introducing the API to let people integrate different software and build solutions with it.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So
I mean, such a cool story.
Yeah. Back to your project though. You've got this great hardware. You've got this cool miner. You obviously must be some kind of super genius. You didn't run into any problems whatsoever, right?
No problems, never.
Right. There's never any problems, right? It all just works the first time you build it. There's no errors. Yeah, I did actually run into an issue with the SenseHat when I first plugged it in, set everything up, got all the credentials set up correctly with AWS IoT. I couldn't get a reading from the temperature sensor. It failed to initialize. And so, searching online, looking at various posts, and there was one error that said, "Hey, you might need permissions to the I2C bus. It might be set incorrectly." But there was a very specific error message, and I wasn't getting that error message. So I, continued looking, exploring different answers, and then eventually, after many hours, I scrolled down on that answer page and said, "Oh, by the way, if you're looking at this more recently, they've hidden that error message, but the problem's still the same."
Yep.
So, as it is always working with hardware, there's these random issues that you have to dig into.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you never know what's going to come up. Have there been any, has the relay been used in any emergency services or any unexpected use cases that you just didn't foresee as a company?
Yeah, so I think what we've been blown away by is kind of the variety of use cases. Obviously, voice communication is important all over the place, but I think we didn't realize just how broad that applicability was. I think one of the more interesting use cases that we've got has been, in the healthcare space, where people want to not visit folks unless they really, really have to. So, using it as a nurse call button where you can press the button, call somebody to your location, communicate with them, that kind of stuff has been one of the really compelling use cases that we've seen folks use the relay for.
Awesome. I mean, it's, of course, very obvious.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to touch on real quick was that you mentioned you use Erlang of all languages, and it's cool, but it's not necessarily that popular. You got any info for us on why you chose it?
Yeah, I feel like Erlang is the internet's best kept secret. There's been a lot of very performant, scalable applications that have been built for the web using Erlang, but not a lot of people know about them. So we chose Erlang very early on because it was super scalable. It allows for hot swapping of code. So when you're running a production application, you can swap code in and out without bringing the server down. It is a functional language, and it helps us deliver stuff super fast and quick.
Cool. All right. And I'll say, hopefully our moderator can share this link, but there's something called Erlang the Movies video that everyone's got to check out if you're curious about Erlang. It's old and it's hilarious. So now what's next? You guys have done a lot, but there's got to be more coming. So let us know. What's the next thing for Relay?
So on the personal side, on the personal project front, I think I'm going to integrate some actual physical electrical relays so I can actually turn on and off my miner using my relay device. But more interestingly, on the Relay API front, we're really excited to be launching a new SDK in Q1 of next year. And that's going to enable, I know Tim always likes to talk about how fast it is, but it's going to enable us to get even quicker because you can build applications natively. So you can write them in Python, you can write them in JavaScript, and then you'll have direct commands through the SDK in your application. We'll also be adding support for things like voice calling and just faster voice workflows.
Awesome. I'll look for the Fortran SDK.
Well, sign up. We'll have the moderator share the link to sign up for the SDK, and then you can put that in as a request probably. So, but now it's time to check in with our viewers. Aaron, are there any burning questions for Ibraheem from the Tweet stream?
Yeah, we do have one. So this one says, most of my use cases are indoors, but what can I do about the position there? So you talked about GPS and Bluetooth, but so if my use cases are inside, is there a way that I can do location-based tracking there?
Absolutely. Yep. We have these small Bluetooth beacons that we sell alongside the device. And it's very, very easy to pull location from these indoors. So you can use, our API and pull location from the device. It'll give you a indoor match along with an outdoor location if there is one. So very, very simple to set up and add.
Cool. Well, that's great. Well, that brings us to nearly the end of the show. I got to say, Ibraheem, thank you so much for joining us today. It's really awesome to learn about Relay and you and your Bitcoin miner and avoiding meltdowns and also playing with this. It's super fun. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Aaron. It's been great being on here.
All right. So
appreciate it, Aaron.
That brings us. Thank you. So what I was going to say was it brings us to the end of our final episode of 2020.
Yeah, I can't believe we're wrapping up IoT All the Things for 2020, and it feels like we kind of just started. It's been a lot of fun showcasing everything that our customers are doing, what they're building on AWS, hearing about their architectures, and getting advice directly from the customers and our colleagues.
Yeah, I know, Tim. What a way to end the year hearing about cutting edge offerings from AD-Link, from PyCom, and just Relay from our last 3 episodes. The pace of innovation in this space is really amazing. Also, we want to thank everyone that came on our show this year and showed us all of their cool projects and sat with us and showed us how we could use IoT in new and exciting ways.
Yeah, great idea. So let's thank everybody. Let's start with David and his super cool Monarch Butterfly spy camera setup. That was amazing.
That was amazing. And we'd like to thank Anton and Gavin for showing us how we can IoT-ify our drink dispensers. That was also very cool.
Yep. And Kadar from Espresso for coming on and showcasing how easy it is to bootstrap ESP32 devices with Rainmaker and help people build projects faster and worry less about bootstrapping.
Yeah, and thank you to the Deep Java Learning team for helping Tim with his bird project. He could never have spied on his bird neighbors without you.
Yep. And to Wale, Rudy, and Werner for starting the show and just letting us expand on this awesome idea. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes. Thank you very much. And thank you, our moderator, Piyush, for being with us for all of these shows. And thank you to the whole production team. Putting the show together is a lot of work, and we really couldn't have done it without you. And thank you all for watching our show. It's been great. It's been really fun and kind of weird year. But Tim and I will be coming back with all new season starting in February.
That's right. So thanks again for joining us on our final special AWS On Air edition of the show. We'll be off through the rest of 2020, unfortunately, but look for announcements in January of the new season.
Yeah, so we hope to see you again in 2021 for our new season of IoT All the Things.
Special Projects Edition.